Welcome to Meeting of the Moms, a place to talk about all the things. I'm Lorna Adams. I'm a wife, mom, and certified life coach. I think being with people makes anything a party. Thanks for coming to ours. I'm here with my good friend Amy. For years, we've spent the early morning hours running and talking together before diving into our days.
Hey, I'm Amy Rasmussen. I'm a teacher by profession, a wife and mother by choice, an optimist by nature, and happy by design. Here at Moms, we believe the world is wide open to all of us and that we have unlimited potential. We're so glad you're here.
In reference to episode 10, we wanted to share some more things about gratitude and celebration. We just thought it might be fun for you to kind of see how we're doing it, maybe real time. We just made up a PDF that has kind of a T-chart, and one of them says, I'm grateful for, and it's things that are out of our control, but we're glad it happened. And then the other side is more of our celebrations or wins, and it says, good job, me, and then we get to fill it in, and that's in our control. So I will just start with one of mine. Amy and I will go share some of our different things. But last night, I enjoyed having some family time with my family. So this is, I'm grateful for family time with my family while watching a show. That's how we ended up spending some time. And right now, this is not typical for me. In the years past, I would not say I like commercials. But right now, I actually do like commercials. We were watching a series on Amazon, and it has just like 1.5-minute commercials. And I love it because while I'm watching, I'm folding clothes. So I can run to the washer, change the load over.
Nice.
I am embracing the commercials, grateful for commercials. And good job, me. I got lots of laundry done yesterday.
So one thing I'm celebrating is that yesterday I had a telehealth appointment and I was on time for it. And so as I'm thinking about being on time for the telehealth appointment, I'm also realizing I'm really grateful that telehealth is an option because both of us live in like small towns, and this is a specialist this is a specialist for menopause, y'all, that I found, and they aren't very close. Like if you want to find someone who really focuses on that part of women's health, then you kind of have to travel. And so I love that the first visit was in person, but the other ones can be virtual. So grateful that telehealth stuff exists at all.
Yes, so nice. My next one is I am grateful that my husband bought me a new hard drive. So my computers are maxing out on memory. And so he bought me this hard drive, and I'm grateful for the hard drive. So that's like a twofer. And then my celebration is that I did spend an hour or so yesterday transferring all of my things over. So good job, me. I transferred all my things over.
I love that in the middle of saying your gratitude, you discovered, wait a second, I'm actually grateful for two things, right? Because you're grateful for your husband who got you the tool, and you're grateful that you have the tool. So
yes, yeah,
totally.
Awesome.
Love it.
I think that is what is so fun about putting these gratitudes and celebrations on paper, is that then we're able to like pull it apart a little bit more and see the details that are in there. And I think that will come up for most of us as we do this more and more and more, right? Is that they're there. We just have to give it some space to be able to notice it.
Yeah. And it's kind of has a cascading effect. And I think we're going to see this in my next one. So we can kind of do the cascading effect together. I am super thrilled that I updated our picture on YouTube. I think it looks a lot better than our random snapshot that we had there before. And I'm grateful that you were willing to do our funny DIY photo shoot. And we had a lot of fun, everybody. And it was also a little awkward at times because people would be walking down the street as we're doing our thing, but it was a lot of fun. So that's my initial one. But then I got thinking that I just want to celebrate the fact that I got in and played with a bunch of the photos. And we want the photos to look real, so we weren't into like lots of editing. But there were also situations where there was some funky light in the background or whatever, right? So I'm so grateful that editing tools are so easy now. Like they can just be on the phone, and we could do a little cropping so that we don't have some glaring light above our heads or whatever, right? And so I'm, good job me that I went and played around with the editing, and I learned a whole bunch of stuff. I think one of the key things of celebrating is celebrating what we learn. And then I'm just grateful that those editing tools are so easy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome. And just from my own perspective, watching you do some of the editing, I wasn't watching you hands on, but as you've
Right.
shared things with me, right, I'm seeing some of the different things that you've picked up on with the tools as you've shown me the edited pictures. And so that's so fun for me to be able to see, like, yeah, I can see some of those things that you learned. Good job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad. So this is where cascading is going to happen. I am thankful that we had a need to go inside from the park in this little shop. We didn't know what it was. And there was a little coffee shop there, and we went inside and we asked them a question, and they helped us with our question. And then we found like some cute spaces, and we got to take a couple pictures in this cute little coffee shop.
Darling. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So I'm so grateful that even that the need arose, right? That we had to go in there. And then I will celebrate the fact that I was like, hey, do you think we could like take a picture in here? And you're like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm gonna go take care of the thing I need. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna ask. So I'm celebrating that I asked because I didn't want them to think it was weird. And then I'm so grateful that they're like, yeah, you can snap a few photos, whatever. So that was just really, really kind of them. So
Yeah.
super fun.
I think some people could even have that like as a celebration. I was brave. I asked a question.
Right, right.
That
That's what I'm
maybe I got a
saying. I'm
little
so proud of myself.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
with. Yeah, yeah. So I think that is fun. Yeah, you just had a
Yeah.
whole bunch in there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. And so the other thing that happened, and this is why you were not there with us for a second, but they were super friendly and we got to chat about how long the coffee shop had been in the place because I used to live there and it hadn't been there next to the super cute park. And so they were telling me all about that and we just got to have this human connection. So I think that's another gratitude. And then I think another good job us, I guess, is we just were open to trying lots of different things as we were doing our different pictures. And some things totally worked and some things totally didn't. And then I'm grateful that as you were looking over the pictures today, you were very complimentary and kind about like, well, I like this one and this is great and I think this will work and whatever. And I also still kept a few in the spirit of learning. And this is a win that I kept a few that were both like, let's not take a picture like that again.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
was a horrible angle or background or whatever. Like you guys, we caught this huge TV reflecting lights in a bunch of our pictures. Not like great, right? So now we can be aware of our background. So anyway, we don't have to keep cascading that, although I think we could. But super fun to see how out of just that simple thing, I'm celebrating, I updated the photo, and I'm grateful that you did the photos with me, that a whole bunch more came out of it. So
Yeah.
that's my cascade.
We don't
Okay,
have to
sweet.
go far into it, but I think also the idea of celebrating, being willing to try new things, and really we can't figure out if we like the pictures or not until we take the picture.
Right.
I really want to. I think it's so important to celebrate failure to some extent. Like, yay, I learned something.
Yeah.
And now I know what to do differently. And so I think
Yes.
that's also part of what celebrations can be, is noticing I didn't like how that worked out, but yay me, I figured something out.
Yes. Yes. Well, because I also figured out on some of the camera or the television ones, I could crop it. And then I'm like, we can use this. Sweet. But then on another one, there was an angle, and both of us were like, not that angle. Now we know. Like, that's a bad angle.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I love the idea that if even in the worst situations of when we do something and it doesn't turn out well, at least we can be like, and now I know, not that way.
Yeah.
So,
and really that can be worth celebrating.
it is. It is. And I love that, especially together, because we like collaboration and stuff, that we can laugh about it and be like, wow, okay.
Yes,
that one was bad or whatever. And humor goes so far.
Yes. Yes.
So there we go. Another gratitude. I'm grateful for collaboration and humor between the two of us as
Awesome.
we're doing all this stuff. Okay, what's your next one?
Another one I have is I'm celebrating that I went out for a walk last night. We had some family time and then it was just kind of some downtime. And I'm like, I'm going to go out for a walk. As you know, Amy, our audience may not know, but it is harder for me to get out and exercise by myself.
Yeah.
I have gotten way better about it in the last year or two.
Yes, you have.
Thank you. So I can celebrate that too, right?
That's right. Yep.
I just decided I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to go out for a walk. And when I was outside, I just sent a text to a friend and said, hey, I'm going out for a walk. If you happen to have some time and want to join me, I'd love it. So I'm celebrating. I went out on a walk on my own and I sent a text And really, I wasn't holding my breath like, oh, I hope she comes. Like, this is so unbearable. I don't want to be out here by myself. It was like, no, it's fine.
Yep.
And then shortly after I was out there, maybe within the 5 minutes or so, she texted me. And so she joined me. So then my gratitude is, I'm grateful my friend was able to join me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Love it. Okay. So my next one is I am celebrating. Well, this is funny because some of these I like go backward. So I'm celebrating that I listened to my husband the other day. Just listened. It wasn't like a listen and go do what he asked. It was just like, I just listened to him. And then I am grateful that he shared his thoughts. So that really could go either way, right? Like I could have started with, I'm so grateful he shared his thoughts and good job me. I just slowed down and listened.
Yeah.
So kind of fun to see how they come up for us, which one kind of surfaces first and then which one gets to tag along.
Yes, totally. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it, right? You
Agree.
can totally sit
Yep,
in
I
the
agree.
gratitude spot if you want and have things come up and then see how you can celebrate it, or you can sit in the celebration spot. And sometimes maybe you don't have something you want to celebrate that you're grateful for or whatever. And that's fine too, right? They can
Yep.
be individual or they can kind of work together. So I think that's
Yep.
fun.
Yep.
Maybe my last one is, I'll just share one more, is I'm celebrating. I registered for this little conference that I was invited to, and I'm just celebrating I made that happen. It was on the to-do list. I had to
Nice.
like do some communicating with my family, figure out if things will work out, whatever. Anyway, it'll work out. And then I'm grateful that I'm invited to go to this little conference, and I'm grateful that my daughter's willing to go with me. My husband doesn't feel like he can take the time away from work, which totally makes sense with all of the other things going on right around that same. But I'm grateful that my daughter is willing and that she has some time in her college schedule to be able to join me.
Nice, nice. Just a thought that another cascading one here is like there could be gratitude here that your husband just let you know this time it doesn't work for me, right? Because then you could move forward with what you're doing. Because sometimes it's like, well, I don't know yet. Let me see. And that happens sometimes in our lives too. But nice sometimes just to know, because then you could move on it, right?
Yeah. Even a little bit more about that. I did ask him, he was unsure. And so I'm like, well, and this is something I could celebrate. I reached out to my daughter before he knew for sure. I still reached out to kind of fill her out and see if it was even an option, right? So I wasn't just waiting. I was throwing out my feelers. I let her know, like, hey, there's a chance that dad can't come. Would you want to join me if he can't? And then when he was like, yeah, it actually isn't going to work, then it was like, okay, that is totally fine. Like, of course, it'd be so great to be with him, but this is also another great option and it'll be fun too.
Which is another win there. Just being able to see the thing that you can be grateful for and see the win in whether he got to go or whether it didn't work out this time. Just again, fun to see the cascading.
Yeah. Do you have one more you want to do?
Yeah, I can do one more. So I was reading in wisdom literature, so in some religious scriptures, and there's a place where there's some attributes listed that I'm like, these are good things for a person to emulate, and I want to share them with my kids. And so my celebration is that I was doing my study that I like to do anyway, and then another celebration is I recognize that there's something I want to share with my kids, and then my gratitude is that my kids were actually open to me sharing what I shared. And I'm grateful that some really fantastic conversation came out of what I shared with them. And then another celebration is that I did it over 2 days. So I brought it up to them a little bit yesterday, and they each chose like an attribute that maybe they'd think about. And then today I was like, hey, you know how you said that attribute you'd work on? What if we explore what it even looks like to live life with that? Because I think sometimes our aspirations are very fuzzy and we're not like, well, what does that look like? Like if I'm trying to be kind, what does that look like when someone in the family is annoying me? So we just brought it really down to the basics. So I was thrilled that they were willing to have the conversations with me. So
awesome. So fun. Well, so I think just to you, our audience, we would just invite you to try it. And if you want to print out our PDF, fill it out and see how it goes. Maybe try just one a day for a few days and see how that goes if this feels overwhelming. I think you'll be surprised at how much is already going on, but if we slow it down, we're going to see it. And I think that's what's so fun. And I think it like feeds our spirit. It adds some goodness. When we're focusing on the good, and we're going to feel good inside, and then that's going to help us in our life as we're functioning as moms, as friends, as whatever else, maybe coworkers, employees, whatever.
Thanks for coming to Meeting of the Moms. We hope it made your load a little lighter. We'd love to hear what's on your mind. Send your celebrations, takeaways, and suggestions for future topics to momswithamyandlorna@gmail.com.
If you enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe. If this isn't the right fit for you, we wish you well on your journey. Until next time, I'm Amy Rasmussen.
And I'm Lorna Adams. See you next week at Moms.